The best summer memories are made outside, and LL Bean has the clothing and gear you need to make these memories. Their effortless styles are created for summer spent outside with family and friends. Like hand-sewn boat shoes, coastal cotton sweaters, rugged polos, and, of course, the iconic boat and tote, which has been made right here in Maine since 1944. LL Bean. Be an outsider. Visit llbean.com to learn more.
Good morning, it's Tuesday, June 9, and this is the Brussels Playbook podcast. The vibe in Brussels today is awkward as Ireland prepares to take on the EU presidency while at the same time facing uncomfortable questions about what it's still exporting to Russia. Also on the pod, smart glasses. They're moving from sci-fi gadget to Brussels privacy headache. And visitors to the Saint-Contenaire Park in Brussels will be met with concerts and inflatable artwork to celebrate the Commission's new European Bauhaus initiative. Bear with us, there's going to be a ride. I'm Zoya Shatalovich, and with me today is my colleague, policy editor Sarah Wheaton. Hey, Sarah.
Hey, Zoya.
Have you ever seen a giant inflatable Bauhaus initiative blow-up thing in the park?
No, I'll have to go check it out.
Can't wait.
I think it's going to be a gas.
Oh, shit.
It's early in the week still, folks.
Sarah, let's first zoom in to what's happening in Dublin. Kaja Kallas, that's the EU's High Representative, the top diplomat for the bloc, she's arriving there today for a meeting with the Prime Minister, Michael Martin, and she's got some uncomfortable questions for him because what we've seen is this flurry of news reports over the past week about the fact that Ireland is exporting massive amounts of alumina, which is the raw material used to make aluminum, to Russia.
Yeah, and look, they're allowed to do that because you can use this for civilian industry, and that's why it's not sanctioned, but you can also use it to make weapons, aircraft, military vehicles,
drones
can be, so it can be used to really hurt Ukraine. And there's been some talk about this Irish alumina export to Russia before, but there's been a big new investigation by Irish media. And of course, when you are about to take on the EU Council presidency, you're going to get more scrutiny.
Yeah, absolutely. And so at the center of this investigation is this Orkinish alumina plant. And it is, I think it's actually Europe's largest alumina refinery, 400 jobs, 500 contract workers. And they've been exporting since 2023 around half of the alumina that they produce to two Russian smelters. And it's worth around about $650 million US. So it's a pretty significant scale that we're talking about here.
Yeah, and as we were saying, the plant itself is not sanctioned. Rusal, the company that owns it, is not sanctioned, but that company is linked to Oleg Deripaska, and he's a billionaire, a friend of Putin's, and he has been sanctioned by the EU. And so again, there's no proof that Irish alumina has been used to produce missiles, but we're seeing a supply chain that gets really close to Russia's war machine.
Yeah, and so there have been calls from places around Europe, from Estonia, for instance, for this to be part of the next EU sanctions package. They do want a crackdown on this alumina export situation. And the tricky thing, of course, is that Ireland is about to take over the Council presidency, as you said earlier, which means that it's going to be the broker on a bunch of files, including things like sanctions negotiations from the 1st of July. So this is a bit of a tricky one for Dublin to navigate because Ireland does represent itself as a big backer of Ukraine, perhaps not so much militarily because Ireland famously is neutral, but from the perspective of backing its accession prospects, backing it when the EU is looking at sanctions, when the EU is looking to send money to Ukraine, Ireland backs all those things. But this is kind of the flip side of that, which is that they're also having this alumina plant on their territory that can be quite problematic from the perspective of Ukraine.
Yeah, and so to your point about the vibe being awkward, Kaja Kallas has already raised some concerns about this, that the EU needs to be more creative on sanctions and that any trade helping to fund Russia's war undermines efforts to end it. And today in Dublin, she's expected to meet with Martin, and she might be asking some tough questions about exports.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's been pressure from elsewhere as well. There have been 39 MEPs who've urged the Commission to act to crack down on this alumina trade. They want it added to the sanctions list. Dutch MEP Bart Groothus, he wants a ban. He says, I'm wondering what Irish neutrality actually means. This is not neutrality. One must take a side and you can't pick Russia's side. Interesting.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's easy to put the spotlight on Ireland, but there is this bigger question of other countries who are still exporting to Russia. I mean, exports have fallen massively since 2022, but the EU still exported around 30 billion with a B worth of goods to Russia as of 2025.
Yeah, and that's like chemicals, pharmaceuticals, food, machinery, transportation equipment. That's all still happening. And that's because basically, the EU does not sanction literally all trade with Russia. It picks and chooses which industries to do. And there is often call from elsewhere, from the Baltics, from the Nordics, calling for more things to be added to the list. We should say, so the Irish Prime Minister Michael Martin's line has been, it's not as simple as just banning it. We will investigate, but also sanctioning this plant is going to hurt Europe potentially more than Russia, he said. The thing that he points to is that it's a major employer and it's also part of Europe's aluminum supply chain, although we should say here, it might be part of the supply chain, but more than 50% of its alumina appears to be going to Russia, so can't have it both ways there.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is the general dilemma on sanctions. Every ban is going to create a cost somewhere in Europe, jobs, factories, contracts, supply chains, but every exemption creates a vulnerability. And unfortunately for Ireland, I guess, this is coming to light just before it starts its presidency.
Sarah, our second story is about smart glasses, which are becoming a bit of a privacy headache here in town. Have you ever seen any around?
I don't know. I did just buy new glasses over the weekend, but I can assure you that this conversation is not being recorded by my glasses.
And yet is being recorded one way or another nonetheless. Well, listen, our colleague Eleanor Reagan has a story out today about basically this kind of alarm that's being raised over Meta's smart glasses, which have these inbuilt cameras and microphones. 7 million of these things were sold in 2025. They are the leader in this area, but Google, Samsung, and Apple, they've all got products in this market as well. And basically, regulators are concerned, what if people are out there just filming people without their consent?
Yeah, and look, the reason that there's this alarm about this is because we're seeing that this is already being abused, arguably. Swedish media reported that workers for a Meta subcontractor in Kenya were reviewing footage captured by Meta's glasses, and they're data annotators, so they're supposed to be helping the glasses recognize things, but they were looking at stuff like bathroom visits, banking details, nudity, even people, getting it on. And yeah.
That's pretty wild, Sarah. When I read this story, I could not believe that this is what was happening.
I can completely believe that that's what's happening, actually.
Yeah, actually true. But the issue here is not only that these glasses can be recording without people knowing, but also, yeah, as you say, that the footage could end up elsewhere. Now, Meta did cut ties with this Kenyan subcontractor, and they did say that there are privacy instruments that they've built into the glasses. So there's an LED light that is on when you're taping, when you're using them, and they've got some sort of system where if you try to cover that light, something protects the glass. I don't quite know how it works. I don't have any of these things. But anyway, that's their defense. It's that they're not meant for secret spying. They're meant for, well, I don't know. What are they meant for? What would you use them for, Sarah?
I mean, actually, I can totally imagine buying these. I mean, look, Zoe, let's be honest. You and I meet people for a living. We go to receptions where we're drinking at the same time that we're trying to match names and faces. And God, I'm so bad at matching names and faces that I would really benefit from some smart glasses that could be like, Sarah, this is Zoya. You last met her 2 weeks ago at the whatever reception. And I would look so smart and conscientious.
I stand corrected. I can see that usefulness. Actually, folks out there in the world, tell us what you would use these glasses for if you had them, or what you would definitely not want to use them for.
Maybe keep it safe for work.
Yeah, definitely. But anyway, look, the point is privacy activists, they are concerned nonetheless, despite the various techniques that Meta says that uses to ensure that things are kosher. They said that the glasses are actually they're going to be abused, and you don't really have an opportunity to consent to being filmed with them, particularly if someone is walking out on the street. I mean, they might have an LED light on, but if you're just out there and accidentally cross paths with them, you've got no way of saying, no, actually, I don't want my visage being uploaded to some subcontractor somewhere, even if it is in Europe, not in Kenya. So yeah, Brussels is starting to move now.
Yeah, I mean, MEPs are getting involved. They've asked the Commission if Meta's glasses comply with the EU's privacy rules. Renew MEPs just a few days ago again called on the Commission for guidance. They're really not getting that much reassurance from the commission. Commissioner Michael McGraw, the Justice Commissioner, said that data protection enforcement mainly sits with national privacy authorities and courts. And so these MEPs are worried, that people will discover after the fact that their image, voice, or data was collected and shared.
Yeah, so the European Data Protection Board has ordered a report into this that's expected this summer, but, real wild stuff there, ordering a report. Not sure that that's going to be what the MEPs want. In any case, look, some people are taking this into their own hands. There's a coder who's built an app that's called Nearby Glasses, which tells you if someone around you is wearing smart glasses. And he said he just didn't want to wait for regulators to step in because you might be waiting a while. Pretty interesting.
Then again, this has, of course, gotten tied up in all the tech regulation tensions between Brussels and Washington. Just the other day, U.S. Ambassador Andrew Puzder praised Meta's glasses. He said that they are, quote, wonderful, wonderful glasses.
Yeah, I guess he's a big champion of U.S. tech. We'll see what the Brussels regulators think about that. Sarah, on to our third story. So it's Ursula von der Leyen, the Commission President's second mandate, and we've talked about it on the pod before. There's a lot on the scrap heap from her green agenda, thanks to a bunch of red tape slashing exercises. But there is one thing that survived. It's the new European Bauhaus initiative. And we're talking about it today because the third edition of the annual festival of the new European Bauhaus is kicking off as we speak.
Yeah, and so look, it doesn't have much directly to do with the 20th century architectural movement of those kind of boxy buildings. Instead, this is a policy initiative from the Commission launched, as you said, in 2021 that aims to make affordable dwellings that are sustainable, inclusive, and, of course, beautiful.
Well, tell me about this festival. What's going on?
So it's part trade fair, part EU conference, part cultural happening, because that's what Brussels is all about. It's cultural happenings. And, so there's going to be a fair in Saint-Cantenaire Park with musical performances, theater, and dance.
And what's this about giant inflatable heads?
There's going to be inflatable heads, inflatable sculptures called Happy Heads by a Franco-Chinese art duo.
I'm still not seeing the link with affordable housing.
Well, there are going to be some speeches.
Oh, good. From who?
There are going to be speeches and also tours around town of development projects and displays of architectural projects and prototypes. And while this won't be an immediate solution to Europe's housing crisis, there will be a lot of fancy, high-level European VIPs. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen and Council President Antonio Costa will open up the evening. And then you can expect Commissioners Dan Jorgensen, Ekaterina Zaharayeva, Jessica Roswell, and Raffaele Fitto.
Will there be giant blow-up head statues of any of them, or?
I mean, we can only hope.
Yeah. All right. The opening night event is tonight, runs till Saturday. I'm going to run over to the park and see some giant heads.
Because in Brussels, you can only see giant heads.
You don't even have to go to the park. Hey, Sarah, yesterday we had a shout out to our audience asking them to tell us what they hate about airline travel. And let me tell you, the WhatsApp line lit up.
Surprised it still was functional.
I'm incapable of responding to the messages. I'm going to read you out a few of the choicest responses. Daniel from Brussels reckons it's crazy that airlines intentionally make you sit apart from your friends and family and then charge you extra to sit together. He said that imagine if they did that at the movies. Most people would consider it absurd, yet cheap airlines have normalized the same behavior. I'm with you, Daniel. I, on principle, just will sit apart from anyone so that I don't have to pay €14. Now, here's an interesting one. John from Brussels has written in, and he says that the most pressing issue for him is actually getting compensation when you're entitled to it. And he said that recently a flight he was meant to be on was delayed by 3 hours. The airline said that it wasn't actually delayed by that much, and so they didn't want to pay compensation. He sent in a bunch of screenshots, and then the airline pleaded force majeure. Now it's in court.
I did once take an Uber from Frankfurt Airport to Brussels due to a delayed flight.
How much was that Uber fare?
€400.
Geez, who paid for that, Sarah?
Actually, the airline paid for it. So there are some happy outcomes.
I guess that was a good day for the Uber driver. All right, folks, that's it from us today. Send in your thoughts via WhatsApp. Give us a like. Tell your friends. Share this with just one person today, and then we'll be happy. We need people to listen to us from far and wide. Thanks, folks. See you tomorrow.